session 5, or week 5. So I messed around with the title of this this session, but I've landed on turning towards discomfort. I think discomfort is better than turning towards the difficult, because sometimes the difficult is, oh, it's just a problem I have to fix, I have to solve. So it's the wrong word for the mind. The mind will interpret it how it wants. But discomfort, nobody wants that. But that's really what we're going to be doing. And this is based on that practice we did called finding the gold in the wound. So it's about emotion. Because discomfort is really often related to emotion. And in Chinese medicine, it's emotions blocked in in energetic pathways is the cause of all disease and discomfort on a physical level. So we did that practice, just to remember. We've reviewed the home practice. So what we're looking at primarily, as I said, is this spot here, the emotions. I'm going to play a track. And this is a recording of my daughter, my granddaughter, and my grandson. And it's a conversation. It's in English, but hopefully you can get the sense of it, the translation of it. And I really want you to connect with the emotions that are being shared here in this track. It's called Happy Banana. So actually, I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop and reshare so that I can make sure that you can hear it.
What's wrong? I just miss it. But Ellen, if we don't eat it, it'll just go moldy. But I'll miss it. What's his name again? Happy Banana. Oh, hi, Happy Banana. I'm afraid Ellen needs to eat a banana. Sorry. Oh. Bye bye. I miss him. Oh, Ellen. Happy Banana. Oh, Ellen. But Happy Banana is probably really tasty. And if we don't eat Happy Banana, then he will go to waste because he'll have to go in the compost. Can I tell you something, Ellen? Yeah. All those lovely times will always be around somewhere. Yeah. Once when I said mean things to an apple, it was not good in the inside. When I said nice things to an apple, it tastes good. And you had a lot of very happy memories, so I bet this will taste very good. And Happy Banana, he will always be with you somewhere. I really miss him. That's a lot of love you've got for a banana. We could make one out of cardboard. Yeah? Should we make a happy banana out of cardboard? And then... No, I just want a real one. You want a real one? Oh, but he's made of food. And food rot. Oh, yeah. We could make a happy sock. A happy sock? That's a good one. With one of my odds. With one of the odd socks. Happy apple. And happy apple would also need to be eaten at some point.
So we would need to do happy sock.
Yeah.
We could stuff it up like a banana, then you would have a teddy banana. Then it would never go moldy.
What do you think? Can we eat this as a bedtime banana?
No.
No. What about if you give him a shush to say goodbye?
I have to eat you now.
Oh, Ellen.
So there you can see. Maybe it brings back to you how the world is all emotional when you're a child. You know? How just the empathy for a banana with a face on it brings real grief. Real grief. My favorite bit is happy apple. Anyway, so emotions are so natural, and this is what children as they get older forget. So, and there's a lot of really fascinating research into emotions, and in particular happiness. And what they're realizing is happiness is not so related to your circumstances. For example, people who win the lottery, usually within 6 months, return to how happy they were before. People who have an accident, become paralyzed, within 9 months, return to how happy they were before. There's also research relating to Ukraine, actually, and how the happiness in general in Ukraine went down in 2014 when the invasion of Ukraine. But since the Russian invasion, it has it's found a level which is not so different to how it was before. So human nature is to compensate. So the happiness probably comes from the communality of being in war, what we call the Blitz spirit in World War II. And emotions play a really important part in happiness, and the idea that our circumstances will somehow move the baseline of happiness has been shown to be wrong. So there must be something else going on in terms of happiness. Now, in meditation, you'll often hear the saying, if you leave the mind, if you don't stir it, like a glass of muddy water, it settles and it becomes clear. So I have a glass of muddy water to test that now. Okay. Oh, I'm not sure if you can see it on the camera, but they lied to us. It doesn't settle in the bottom. It becomes clear in the middle a little bit, but there's mud at the top and there's mud that floats. There's mud at the bottom, dirt at the bottom, and then there's dirt that floats to the top. And this is often the issue when people start meditating. and the mind starts to settle, things come to the surface that you don't want to deal with. So you do this. You shake it up again. You stimulate yourself, distract yourself. You keep on moving. So what is that scum on the surface that we don't want to look at? Well, they are discomfort. And most of them are based in our emotions. In this course, we look at 3 theories of emotion. There's the 6 emotional styles in the brain. This is Professor Richard Davison. So this is very much about how the brain works, navigates those emotions in an adult brain. There's the 3 circles of emotional regulation, which is more about the nervous system, and that's Paul Gilbert, and we've looked at that. I'll remind you in a minute. And then there's the 5 basic emotions, which is, if you've seen the film Inside Out, what's it called? Inside Out, I think it's called. It's based on the work of Paul Ekman, psychologist. And this is very much about the body, the animal. All animals, mammals, I'm not sure about the other families, have these 5 basic emotions. And this session will look in particular at those. So emotional styles of the brain, there are 6, but I'll be focusing next week on 4 of the main ones, and their outlook, attention, resilience, and generosity. So these are aspects of the brain and how the brain deals with emotion. The 3 circles of emotional regulation, if you remember, they're the drive system, the threat system, and the soothing system. And these are related to different nervous system modes, the parasympathetic nervous system and the sympathetic nervous system, and how they're each of them essential to our survival and functioning, and that they're common to animals as well. And then there's the 5 basic emotions. So I love doing this with children because they get it. 5 basic emotions. The first is anger. You can see this comes from annoyance to fury. There's a whole range there. And in the all the emotions are just signals. They're actually signals that animals we are expressing towards our environment. And anger is simply get out of my way. If an animal comes in between me and my child, my offspring, or invades my territory, automatic, without thinking, anger. It's a signal. Get out of my way. And there's different ways of expressing it. Sadness, from disappointment to anguish, is I need comforting. Simple as that. So think of all the children who are expressing this signal, and it's a simple physiological signal, and doesn't get comforting. So then we get all the other complex human emotions, such as shame, fear. Enjoyment. And enjoyment, the signal is so simple. It just means this feels good. This feels good. And it can go from some sensory pleasure right the way to ecstasy. And then you have disgust. And this is an emotion that is often suppressed to some extent in modern humans because we're not surrounded by dead bodies. And we don't have to know what we can eat and what we can't eat in the environment. We go to a supermarket and we can eat everything. And the signal is, get that away from me. And then there's fear. And fear is simply help me. It's a scream to get attention from your people in your family or tribe, to warn of a threat. And the human, we're also always relating to others. And this is a useful exercise to do with teenagers. You can put a cross on the floor, and you can put in each quarter of the cross, you can say, I'm okay, you're okay, top right. In the bottom, you put, I'm not okay, and you're okay. Which is this sense that there's something wrong with me, but everybody else is okay. The top left, I have to move this so you can see, is I'm okay, I'm doing fine, but everybody else seems to be a mess. Or in this bottom left corner, you're not okay, and neither am I. I'm not okay. So we are all moving around between these different things with this idea that the optimum, unless you're a goth or a Mimo or whatever, is I'm okay, you're okay. That's the kind of American dream. That's where we all want to end up. That's how it appears. So that kind of negates all these other emotions. You know, the sadness, the anger, disgust, the fear. And we've kind of branded them as undesirable rather than seeing them as signals. And the suppression of that is causing all kinds of inflammation in the body. So what I'll do with a group of young people is, and you'll recognize these 3 questions, is where do you most like to be? And they move. Some don't always go to I'm okay or you're okay. And you can start a debate about it. And you say, where do you least like to be? And you can ask them questions like, what does a person standing here, what are the kind of things they say, and what are the kind of things they think? And then you ask them to go where they think they belong. And that's really a useful diagnostic for a group, but also very useful for a safe way for young people to talk about emotions. And what we're working towards is this, and it's okay, but it's okay, it's okay, it's okay. So you're okay, and I'm okay, and it's okay. You're not okay, and I'm okay, that's okay too. So everything is about acceptance and allowing and letting be, and becoming aware that, sadness and anger and fear and disgust are really, really natural. And just think about disgust for a moment, and the amount of people who look at themselves in the mirror and feel disgust. Remember, the signal of disgust is get that away from me. So what is going to happen? The kind of feedback loop, the emotional distress, anxiety that is going to be caused by looking at yourself and wanting to get away from yourself because you can't. You go there. So it's a very important subject to address with young people. Now, one way we can work with this is called the 5 elements practice. And I'm going to teach you that now. And it comes from Chinese medicine. This is going to be your hack for the week. So I'll stop and we can share. I'll share this practice with you. Any questions before we move on from there?
Everyone okay?
Sorry, you broke up then. You're okay? Everybody okay?
Yeah, I made the joke. Everyone okay?
But
This
that's also fine. Okay.
That's also fine. Yeah. But I recommend you do this with the young people because they get it, because a lot of what's going on for teenagers is around these comparing oneself to others and individuation. Okay, so I invite you to close your eyes, and this is a visualization, and it's called the 5 elements practice. So there's a lot to kind of hold in your mind during this practice. So really just, if you can't hold it all in your mind, just focus on the color of the light, breathing it in to the body, to the place where I ask you to breathe it, and breathing it out as a dark smoke through the soles of the feet into the ground. So those are the basic things to remember: the color of the light, the place it goes to in the body, and the dark smoke coming out. And the rest you don't have to think about, but I'll talk about it anyway. So I want you to visualize in front of you a green light, like the color of sunlight coming through leaves in a forest glade. A green light. And this green light is the essence of wood. And I want you to imagine that you're breathing in this green light, and it's going to the liver. The liver is the organ on your right side, just half of it is under your ribs, bottom ribs, and the other half is comes out. It's a very large organ, actually, surprisingly large. You can put your hand there if you want to remind you where it is, the liver. So you breathe in this green light, and you breathe out down through the feet, through the soles of the feet as a dark smoke. And the emotion is anger. So these, in Chinese medicine, these organs are the ones that hold that emotion. And what we're not trying to rid ourselves of the emotion. It's just that they become stagnant and they inflame these organs. So, and the tonic is the light, the essence of wood, the green light, and down to the liver. And that down through the soles of the feet is a dark smoke. I'm telling you the emotion is anger, but you don't have to think about that. Just imagining this green light, the essence of wood, breathing it down to the liver, breathing out as a dark smoke. Green light, essence of wood, to the liver, out as a dark smoke, through the soles of the feet into the ground. And now in front of you is a white light. And this white light, as you breathe in, fills the lungs. And as you breathe out, it's like a dark smoke coming out through the soles of the feet. And this white light is the essence, wind or metal. Whichever you resonate with, wind or metal, or air or metal. And you breathe it into the lungs, and the emotion is sadness. A white light, essence, air or metal. The lungs, emotion of sadness. Breathing out as a dark smoke through the bottom of the feet. And now there's a red light in front of you, the essence of fire. You breathe this to the heart center. And the emotion is joy. And you breathe that down through the legs, down through the bottom of the feet as a dark smoke. And you might think that you don't want to remove any aspect of joy, but we're not removing it, we're balancing it. In Chinese medicine, there can be an excess of joy, a kind of hysteric, unbalanced joy, manic, if you like. So when we breathe in this essence, this red light, the essence of fire to the heart center, breathing out as a dark smoke through the bottom of the feet. Sometimes it's a hold on this heart that we're not supposed to feel too much joy. That there's a limit of how good you can feel when there isn't. So this red light, the essence of fire, breathe it to the heart, breathe out down through the bottom of the feet as dark smoke. Now the next light is a yellow light. The essence is earth. In China, the earth is more yellow than here in the West. Earth is the essence, the light is yellow. We breathe it down to the stomach. The emotion is disgust. And we breathe it down through the feet. Through the bottom of the feet. If you will read text, it'll say the emotion is pensiveness, overthinking. But when do we overthink? We overthink when we want to get away from what is. We say to ourselves, get this away from me. When we overthink. And that emotion is disgust. So the yellow light, the essence of earth, breathe it to the stomach, down through the feet as a dark smoke. Yellow light, essence of earth to the stomach. The emotion is disgust. Breathing out through the bottom of the feet as a dark smoke. And finally, the light turns into a bottle green, like a blue-green, a dark blue-green. And the essence is water. When we breathe this, it goes to the kidneys, 2 kidneys. And we breathe out. The emotion is fear. Breathe out as a dark smoke through the bottom of the feet. Of course, above the kidneys, attached to the kidneys is the adrenal glands, which are glands that secrete adrenaline to help us respond to threat. And in modern life, they become exhausted. So breathing in this blue-green light, essence of water, to the kidneys, out as a dark smoke through the bottom of the feet. Emotion of fear. And once that's done, just allow yourself a little time just to sit here. just sitting. There's a Chinese proverb that says that the body is like a hotel, the organs are the service, and the mind is the guest. So if the body is falling apart, if the service is terrible from the staff, then the mind leaves. So through this practice, we are helping to remove the blockages, the root causes of illness in the body. When you're ready, opening your eyes. So if anybody has any thoughts or questions about that. What did you notice?
It was all nice and beautiful until I get to the kidneys. Then somehow the mind refused to go there and try to do anything else, and not yeah, probably I still have a lot of fears that I have to deal with. But it was not that smooth at the kidneys. But at the end, the body was so still that I couldn't even feel my hands, my arms anymore. I noticed that they're there, but not in the usual heavy way. I don't know, it's the normal way. Opened the eyes, looked at them, and the feeling was the same. So, and on the liver, it got warmed on that side where the liver is.
Yeah.
And the stomach, it was like just an image of someone, a girl who was standing like this and holding the feet, and it was so short, the image, but like wrapping herself, and holding like this.
I think the one hides the other. So anger hides sadness. Sadness hides joy. The joy hides disgust. And disgust hides fear. And I think there's a kind of, not a hierarchy, but one disguises the other one. So if you're at fear, then that's the last hurdle, if you like, to just free yourself from the bodying. And of course, in this practice, we're not trying to get rid of the emotions. It's when there's a blockage, when they don't flow. It's not about suppressing them.
So actually, it's like by not getting rid, but I don't know now another expression, getting rid of these blockages, somehow these emotions will be balanced again.
They return to their essence, to their true nature.
Because I was surprised of you saying that can be too much joy.
Yeah. Well, in Chinese medicine, they say that. But I think there's no limit to joy, but it's joy that is kind of hiding it's almost like wishful thinking, a false optimism, which can be a kind of putting a brave face on it.
Oh, yeah. Pretending to be joyful.
Yeah. But it also can be the heart not being able to feel joy. Not feeling you have permission to be happy.
Yeah.
So this is all about allowing the energy of those. And what's interesting, when you practice this, when you realize what these emotions are outside of the interpretation of the mind, they're so basic. They're just energy, and quite beautiful. Yeah. So this is your kind of hack, if you like. So it's quite a long practice, but what you can do is, if you feel any of these emotions, you can just take a moment to breathe in that essence and bring it to that organ, so that you're not so the emotion can be felt in its true nature. Okay. We're doing, let's move on. That's a 5 elements practice. And this is a song I was listening to again last week, and it really felt relevant, especially to Ukraine. And the whole song is worth listening to, but these lines in particular. And it's almost like a song to the left side of the brain. We talked about it last week, how the left is the one that speaks for the right, but it gets it wrong and sees the world as mechanistic. It's a map of the world that it's an abstract map through language, through models, but it's not the experience of the world. You can add up the parts, but you won't have the sum. You can strike up the march. There is no drum. Every heart to love will come, but like a refugee. Ring the bells that still can ring. Forget your perfect offering. There is a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Yeah, should have put the credit there. It's called Anthem by Leonard Cohen, who was a Buddhist monk, by the way, for about last 20 years of his life. And so this practice is called Turning Towards Discomfort, and we'll end with this. And I think that's Eugene's feet there in that picture. So you'll remember that practice. So this is we can't replicate that practice through meditation, but we can close to it. And I'll just share the last slide, which is the home practice, if you can do it, turning towards discomfort, and 5 elements practice. So it isn't, we don't have 30 minutes left to do this practice now, but I'll record a version. It's 30 minutes long. Okay, any questions before we do this? 15 minutes. All good. Okay, so it's just moving your hips back and forth just to loosen them up and to find that center point where you just feel higher. You feel like you're sitting higher without having to lift yourself up. Just does it automatically. Now, we've been taught to avoid discomfort, but in this scenario, we are turning towards it. Hope is always the light at the end of the tunnel where we escape suffering. What if that light at the end of the tunnel was suffering? What if that is the crack where the light comes in? And then we wouldn't be continuously running away, avoiding discomfort. Discomfort would be an opportunity. That would be the light at the end of the tunnel to which we turn. And that's what we do in this practice. We start by anchoring ourselves with the breath, the feet on the floor. And we bring our attention to this sense of being alive, this aliveness. And in particular, how it manifests with the thoughts. And there will be thoughts that have an emotional charge. Rather than bringing our focus back to the breath, we really invite them in. Or it might be in the body, a tension, pain and agitation. Or you might notice that when this thought captures your attention, causes some emotion, that it creates a stress signature in the body automatically. These two are very related. This is the dirt that rises to the top of the muddy water. This is why you don't want to sit sometimes. Because there's the feeling that if you actually felt this, it would overwhelm you. So when you feel a discomfort, and it could be anything in the body, in the mind, you might repeat to yourself, it's okay to feel this. Whatever it is, it's okay to feel this. It might not be a huge agitation, it might just be a irritation, slightly unpleasant feeling. Might be something you picked up on in the 5 elements practice. And you can use the breath to soften this discomfort. Allow it to breathe. Allow the wound to express itself in its own language. Okay to feel this, whatever it is. Sitting with the discomfort. Forget your perfect offering. There's a crack in everything. That's how the light gets in. Every heart will come to love, but like a refugee. Every time a discomfort arises, what a wonderful opportunity to move towards it. Sit with it. A deeper breath in, deeper breath out. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Deep breath in and holding it. And breathing out and opening your eyes. Then we have a minute or two to share anything you want from that practice, or anything in the session, or any questions or comments.
It was really good, but because when we started the practice, my neighbors I have started a party like here in this side of the wall. So it was a perfect practice with discomfort. But it was nice. I didn't care. And I don't care. So I think I got the reverse. I don't care about the discomfort. Nice. Really good one. And it's really interesting again that when we do these meditations, it's quite hard to get out of them. Like you feel like staying longer. I don't know.
Mm.
Really nice.
Next week, we'll talk more about this. How do we integrate this into our moment-to-moment day? So I'll see you next week on Monday for session 6. And then 7 and 8, I think we'll have to wait because we have to do the labyrinth. So maybe we'll do it like in person together.
Yeah, it's nice, but we're gonna use a laptop
Yeah.
because it's nice to have them recorded. It's
Oh, yeah, that's true.
to revisit them.
Yeah.
It's nice.
Great. All right. Well, thanks a lot, everybody. Thanks for joining.
We thank you.
See you next week.
See you next